They manage to be feared by their enemies while looking like this. If you like to have a lot of different healing spells to pick from, something different for every situation, Priest should get a nod here. They have Renew, which is a heal over time effect, something to just slap on whenever someone's taking damage. Priests get a new heal with TBC called Prayer of Mending. It's a 5-stack buff that heals an ally when they take damage, and then jumps to a nearby party member. Each jump consumes a stack, and the cycle continues until all 5 stacks are consumed. The spell is excellent for dealing with spread pressure. For casted heals, you have Flash Heal, which is your quick heal, and it's great for topping off teammates taking a lot of damage. It's the casted heal priests use the most, especially in the first season where burst damage is high and healing is a bit low. There's also greater heal, which is your longer cast heal with more mana efficiency. You'll be using that a lot more in the later seasons. Finally, there's binding heal, which heals both the priest and his target for a pretty high amount. It's the best option for situations where you and a teammate are taking heavy damage. And while not technically a heal, you have Power Word Shield too. It's a beefy absorb shield with the additional benefit of preventing spell pushback, making it great to throw on yourself or caster teammates. Moving on to defensive cooldowns, priests get pain suppression from the discipline tree. This ability can be used on an ally, and it reduces their damage taken, as well as increasing the resistance to offensive dispels. And considering that pain suppression itself and just about every other effect from the priest can be dispelled, this cooldown is invaluable. Priests also have Desperate Prayer to protect themselves, which gives them an instant heal to use in dire situations. Considering priests don't have any burst instant heals, this is really nice to have. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. The priests have some unrivaled offensive utility. Their Dispel Magic dispels 2 beneficial magic effects from an enemy, and with the Absolution talent from the Discipline tree, Dispel Magic's mana cost is relatively cheap. As a result, priests tend to spam this ability, and in the Burning Crusade, they're often referred to as the Dispel Bots. They actually have another Dispel called Mass Dispel. Mass Dispel is a ground targeted dispel with a short cast time. It has the unique ability to dispel effects that are normally undispellable, like a Paladin's Divine Shield or a Mage's Ice Block. All you need to do is make sure the Paladin or the Mage is in the radius of your target circle, and their most powerful defensive cooldown will be gone. Priests also have quite a few damage abilities. First, Shadow Word Pain deals solid damage over time, and it can be kept up on multiple enemies. Mana Burn drains a ton of mana from the target, and deals damage equal to half the mana drained. Using this on healers can create a lot of pressure and give the priest a mana advantage in any matchup. Shadow Word Death has 2 uses. First, it's a powerful execute ability that deals high shadow damage, and its other use is to break crowd control effects. The way this happens is Shadow Word Death inflicts an equal amount of damage dealt to the target back to the priest, and that reflected damage can break any crowd control effect that breaks on damage, like Polymorph or Freezing Trap. And that's it for the priest, an offensive healer with a wide arsenal of both healing and damaging spells. The old saying, Jack of all trades, master of none, no longer applies to druids after vanilla, especially not the Resto druid. While Resto druids have a nice spread of healing over time effects, they mostly just use one called Life Bloom. The spell can stack up to 3, and it works by starting off with moderate healing over time. Each additional stack multiplies the effects, and once Life Bloom gets dispelled or expires, the target receives an additional chunk of healing. It's just by far the most mana efficient spell for druids, and since druids are constantly expending mana on shape-shifting and crowd control spells, it only makes sense for them to use their most efficient spell whenever possible. There are some situations for their other heals though. Rejuvenation is a decent healing over time effect, but it's mostly used to pair with Whitemend. You see, Whitemend is a talent from the Resto tree, and it converts an active rejuvenation on the target into one concerted burst. Keep in mind the duration of the heal over time effect Whitemend consumes does not impact the amount it heals. For example, Whitemend heals the same with a 1-second rejuvenation as it does with a fresh one. But Whitemend isn't the only tool druids have for burst healing. They have one even better, and it's the strongest emergency heal in the game. It's another combination of 2 spells, Nature's Swiftness and Healing Touch. Nature's Swiftness makes your next cast under 10 seconds instant, while Healing Touch is an absurdly long casted heal, which also heals for an absurdly high amount. So when used together, the druid is capable of instantly saving his teammates from certain death. Druids also have an extensive list of crowd control spells. Entangling Root is a root with no cooldown, and it's one of those spells that can be used at a low rank for the same effect, so it has virtually no penalty on your mana. You can use it to either get away from your enemies or lock down your kill target. Just be careful though, if you use it too often, you might receive some threatening messages from a level 1, coincidentally after winning a match against a warrior. Druids also get Cyclone in the Burning Crusade. And this crowd control spell works by locking a target in place, making them immune to both damage and healing. But with these roots and cyclones, there's a lot to cast, and it's not easy to cast when a melee's swinging at you. But luckily, that's no problem for the Druid, because of their unique ability to clear snares and slows by shape-shifting in and out of forms. Plus, their travel form, making them faster than everyone else, can make it look a little too easy to escape melee. And with their ability Feral Charge from the Feral Tree, they can charge a target from up to 25 yards away on a 15-second cooldown, allowing them to engage and disengage combat whenever they feel like it. So that's the Druid, a highly mobile healer that specializes in crowd control and healing over time effects. The Paladin. These guys have a relatively small list of healing spells, but they make use of each of them. Flash of Light is your quick cast heal, and typically it's the heal you'll be using for most situations. You will mix it up sometimes with Holy Lights, which have a longer cast time but are more mana efficient. And one powerful way to use Holy Light is with your healing cooldown Divine Favor. Divine Favor is a talented ability that comes from the Holy Tree. The way it works is you activate Divine Favor, and your next heal is a guaranteed critical strike. If you can get the cast off, it produces a huge amount of healing, and it's one of your best tools for picking up allies at low health. There's also Holy Shock, which has two functions. It can either deal damage if used on an enemy, or heal if used on an ally. As a healing spell, it serves as a great option for moments where you can't cast, like when you need to heal when a melee class is on you, or if there's a chance that your ally will die during your heal cast. As for the damage component of the spell, we'll talk about that more in a minute. Paladins also bring a lot to the table in terms of group utility. For example, Paladins' blessing spells can be beneficial in just about any situation. There's Blessing of Freedom, which grants the target movement and pairing effect immunity. This is great for immobile classes like the Warrior, or just to use on a teammate that's having difficulties escaping. Paladins also have Blessing of Protection. It's worse than Divine Shield, but it's usable on allies. It gives the target immunity to physical damage, and with how many rogues and warriors there are in TBC, this ability is going to save you and your teammates countless times. Outside of their blessings, they have some powerful offensive tools worth mentioning. Seal of Justice is a powerful one if you know how it's used. Using Judgment while Seal of Justice is active puts a debuff on your target that makes them unable to go faster than 100% movement speed. This effect isn't cleared by a Druid shape-shifting. And because of that, the Druid can't use travel form for the duration of the effect. And because Paladins often pair up with Warriors, keeping this up at all times makes a huge difference. Last, I want to talk about the insane burst that Paladins can produce if the stars align. It comes from a combination of 3 abilities used consecutively. It starts with an offensive Holy Shock, followed by Judgment of the Righteous, and Hammer of Wrath. And if you get lucky with crits, you can easily wipe away 50% of someone's health in a moment. So that's Paladins, powerful casted heals and group utility, as well as some underrated offensive potential. Shamans, the underdogs going into this expansion, or you might say the underwolves. But seriously guys, I constantly see Shamans being ranked way below the other 3 healers, and I don't think it's necessarily fair. Shamans have a lot of unique tools for healing. Lesser Healing Wave is their quick cast heal, and Healing Wave is their longer cast, more efficient heal, like the Paladin. But unique to them, they have Healing Stream Totem that lasts up to 2 minutes, and does a respectable amount of healing every 2 seconds to all party members within 30 yards of it. They also have a great emergency heal called Nature's Swiftness. It's the same spell as the Druid, but obviously they don't have Healing Touch, so you'll pair it with Healing Wave. But Shamans have some other high value spells they can use with Nature's Swiftness that we'll talk about in a later section. Last of the healing spells is Earth Shield, which is new in the Burning Crusade. It's an ability granted from taking the final talent in the Resto tree. It's a 5-minute shield that heals a target anytime they take damage. It even provides a nice reduction to spell pushback. Overall, just a really nice spell to keep your teammates healthy. You can't talk about Shamans without mentioning their totems, which have become much more valuable since vanilla because you're no longer out in the open world. You're in an enclosed arena. Tremor Totem removes fear, sleep, and charm effects from nearby party members, lasts 2 minutes, and it has no cooldown. The totem can be one-shot, but you can be cheeky with the placement here by hiding behind pillars or other objects so that your opponent needs to go out of his way to kill it. Definitely a huge asset against Warlocks and Priests, which are quite popular in Arena. And of course, there's the iconic Wind Fury Totem. This ability makes you quite desirable amongst melee classes. The totem works by giving nearby party members a 20% chance to gain an extra attack every attack, and is a huge bonus to all melee, especially Warriors and Rep Paladins. While Wind Fury Totem makes Shamans desirable to melee classes, Grounding Totem makes Shamans desirable to everyone. Grounding Totem works by making the next harmful spell casted on a party member be redirected to the totem. You can use Grounding Totem to stop interrupts, or crowd control spells, or simply to mitigate damage against spellcasters. Like the Priest, Shamans have a dispel called Purge. The ability takes away 2 magic effects from an enemy, and it complements the aggressive playstyle that Shamans tend to prefer. Another complement to that playstyle is Earthshock. Earthshock is a 6-second interrupt, and it's also capable of dealing massive damage when used at max rank. If the target you're interrupting isn't your kill target, you can save mana by using the rank 1 version of this spell. Another high damage spell that Shamans have access to is Chain Lightning. Because it's on the Nature School, it can even be paired with Nature's Swiftness to become instant cast. That, combined with a max rank Earthshock, can leave you wondering how you just died to a Resto Shaman. The last thing I'll mention is Bloodlust, or now Heroism for the Alliance. It provides the Shaman's whole group with 30% haste for 40 seconds. So overall, Shamans are an incredibly underrated healer going into TBC Classic, and with Bloodlust, powerful totems, and burst damage, I hope people give them a chance this time around. I hope you guys found the video informative. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. Thanks for watching. Peace.